Recording has started.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Woodbury County Zoning Commission. Today's date is July 27th, 2026, and the time is 5 o'clock. Tonight's meeting will be audio taped and minutes will be prepared. In respect to all parties, we ask that those present turn off cell phones and set to vibrate. Those in attendance are asked to legibly complete the attendance sheet upon the front table. I would like to take a moment to review the procedures that the commission will follow tonight. First, the commission will handle the normal housekeeping agenda items. Then for each application on the agenda, I will open the public hearing on the item. The planning and zoning staff will then present the staff report, including staff recommendations. Any letters or other communication received from the public prior to the hearing will be entered into the record. The applicant will then have the opportunity to present his or her case and respond to the staff report. Next, we will hear comments from the public. If you would like to speak either in support of or against the application, you must come to the microphone. Please first state your name and address for the record. All interested parties shall be heard, but repetitious comments should be avoided. Repetitious or irrelevant comments may be ruled out of order by the chair. I ask that you remain respectful and courteous with your comments at all times and limit your comments to 3 minutes. After all public comments have been heard, the staff and applicant may make a closing statement. The hearing shall then be closed by motion and vote. Thereafter, no further comments from the staff, public, or applicant may be heard unless asked for by the commission. The commission shall then deliberate the case and may ask questions of the applicant, the staff, or any party offering testimony. However, such questions do not reopen the hearing for additional comments from the public unless so requested or approved by the commission. The commission will then formulate and vote on the motion. The motion will typically either grant or deny the requested application. Any commission member who has an ex parte communication to the place that took place, the record of this meeting should do so prior to the beginning of the deliberation of the respective agenda item. Okay, we'll start with a roll call, and if we could do that by name of those present and then those on the phone.
Jeff Hansen, present.
Corey Meister, present.
Tom Bride, present.
Chris Summers on the phone.
Steve Corey via phone.
Did you get that, Dan?
Yeah, just for clarification, Chris, could you repeat?
Yes, Chris Summers on the phone.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 3, public comment on matters not on the agenda. Seeing none or none on the phone, we'll move on to agenda item 4, approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
I make a motion to approve the June 22nd, 2026 meeting minutes.
We have a motion from Chris. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Jeff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Move on to number 5, items of business, action items. First one is a public hearing action item, proposed minor subdivision, parcel number 8942273000022, to be known as the NAC addition. Dan, if you would.
Yes, Scott A. Knack, trustee of the Cheryl Knack Patrick Irrevocable Trust with Brad Knack as contact, has submitted the application for a 2-lot minor subdivision to be named Knack Addition. The applicants seek to divide 13.80 acres, 11.84, excluding county right-of-way, from the said parcel located in the southwest quarter of Section 27, Township 8942 range, Union Township. The property's in the Agricultural Preservation Zoning District, and it's an area of minimal to no flood, not in the floodplain. The property is located along Osceola and 150th Street east of Correctionville. This minor subdivision proposal has been noticed according to county requirements. Neighbors within 1,000 feet have been duly notified. Appropriate stakeholders, including government agencies, utilities, organizations, have been notified and requested to comment. The county engineer reviewed the plat and found that it conforms to closure requirements, and she kind of had a standard message about the driveway situation. Based on the information received, the submitted plat and its associated contents fit with the requirements. The property owner exerted an agricultural exemption as far as the shed for farm uses on the northern-based lot. So with that said, I do want to point out that I just had one call from a property owner. It was Lloyd Parker on the 20th, who just simply asked about it, whether it was a rezone or if it was just a split. I described that it was basically a split of a parcel through a minor subdivision process. He kind of asked about the taxes and the effect that it would have in that form of the neighborhood. And I basically mentioned that it's the continued district with basically similar uses. So with that said, staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any members from the public to address the issue at hand?
I will
No.
point out his surveyor is here, likely representing Al Fagan.
Okay. Nobody on the phone?
Nobody on the phone.
Okay. Anybody any questions from the commission? Okay, hearing none, we'll ask a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
We have a motion to close in a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll go ahead with any further comments or discussion. Not, I'll ask for a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2-lot minor subdivision as presented and as known as Knack Addition. Recommend approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Move on to the next action item, be a public hearing regarding a proposed minor subdivision, parcel number 8646324000010, to be known as the Twisted Timber Acres Edition. And Dan, if you would read that into the record.
Yes, this is another minor subdivision associated with surveyor Al Fagan and Jason Silbernagel. Is that Silbernagel and Claris J. Silbernagel have submitted this application for a 2-lot minor subdivision to be named Twisted Timber Acres Edition as referenced. They seek to divide the 6.32 total acre, 5.81 net, excluding county right-of-way, from the said parcel located in southeast quarter of section 32. This is in Township 86 North, Range 46 West, the Sloan Township. It's in the Agricultural Preservation Zoning District, and it is in an area of minimal, not in the floodplain. The property is located along Dillon Avenue in rural Sloan Township. The minor subdivision proposal has been noticed out for the county requirements. Neighbors within 1,000 feet have been notified via letter. Stakeholders, including government agencies, organizations, have been notified and requested to comment. The county engineer reviewed the plat and found it conforms with the closure requirements and also provided her standard comments as per driveway regulations. And going through this one, staff would also recommend approval as it's pretty much a basic split. It does not require a rezone because of the nature of the area and the location, and there's only one house in the quarter. So
Any comments from members present? Nobody on the phone?
Nope.
Okay, motion,
Motion to close.
okay, motion to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Any further discussion? If not, I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the two-lot minor subdivision known as Twisted, recommend approval. Twisted Timber, is that what it was?
Twisted Timber.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion and do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second,
We had a second on the phone.
Yes.
Okay. Here, having a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the next item is a review of a conditional use permit application. It's parcel 894435100005. It's an action item, review of a conditional use permit application submitted by Kroll Inc. Paving Division, the applicant on behalf of the property owner Countryman James D. Revocable Trust. Dan, if you would read that into the record.
Yes, at this location owned on the parcel by the James D. Countryman Revocable Trust. This is part of a temporary batch plant, concrete batch plant on the site for the Highway 20 reconstruction project as a support measure. They've pointed out that it is a support measure and they will remove these items at the completion of the project. And basically, staff recommends approval as it is tied in directly with the respective Highway 20 project. You will note that temporary concrete batch plant involves a site plan, a specific location on a temporary basis. You'll see that on page 62 of the respective packet. Again, it's right there abutting Highway 20, which is efficient access to the respective project. And the staff sees it as reasonably straightforward. There's Laura Severs had a few comments in there. I would kind of point you to her letter as far as the contractors agreed to maintain gravel right away and provide dust control as necessary to promote the roadway conditions. And she had mentioned the entrance requirements and everything, but otherwise I think they made, impact with the county engineer's office, made impact with our office. And I think with this respective parcel, it being a temporary support system, it's fair and it probably should give them enough time as far as sunset and everything that to fulfill the whole scope of the Highway 20 project. And so staff would recommend approval with proper consideration of any reasonable conditions the commission or Board of Adjustment sees fit to. So.
Sorry, do we have anybody to speak regarding that issue? You would please, your name and.
Hello, my name is Jason, my host. I represent Kroll Incorporated Paving Division. Yeah, we'd like to set this plan. We feel like it's a very safe location for our plant to have minimal impact with like traveling public because of the existing like lane closure involved with this this construction project will yeah be a great spot and keep our trucks out of the traffic with everybody else. Utilize the existing traffic control as much as possible. Any questions on your behalf?
No questions from the commission? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we'll, no other comments. We'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second,
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Any comments from the commission? If not, I'd ask for a recommendation to the Board of Adjustment.
I'd move to make a recommendation to the Board of Adjustment, the approval of the conditional use permit as submitted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a couple seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay, and if I may, for the good of the order, the Board of Adjustment will meet on August 3rd for the official public hearing on this matter. So this is a recommendation that will be sent over to the Board of Adjustment. 5 p.m.
Thank you. Move on to the next item is the official posting of the zoning commission agenda locations. Dan, if you would read that into the record.
Yes, so since we left or discussed this last month and you approved it, there was further discussion. I know Auditor Scaff was at a conference and we've talked about it with the county attorney's office as well. And they talk about the phrase about being visible at all times. And we feel that in addition to our main public board that's out there in the entrance area, you could construe that to be as visible at all times during business hours. However, just to be straightforward and fair to the public and everything, we decided that because of that language, we would probably want it viewable from the sidewalk outside. So you could stop by at 3 in the morning and look at what's on the agendas. And the whole point is visible at all times. That's why I say 3 in the morning. So this language here is just asking the zoning commission to recognize that as well as a location that staff hangs up the notices so the public has another avenue to learn about the respective meetings. So in the form of a motion, we do kind of deep in the packet. I believe it's 91. Page 91 is kind of the basis of what we're asking to do to kind of fall in compliance. It's actually page 90, excuse me. There is a suggested motion there for your consideration.
Okay. We have to close.
This is no
Yep,
public
yep.
hearing, so it's just a straight motion.
I'll look for a motion.
So moved based on the information provided on, I've got it in actually page 91. Motion to approve the designation of the doors with the glass windows at the former Douglas Street public entrance, current emergency exit as an official posting location for zoning commission agendas and notices. And to continue designating the bulletin board inside the north entrance of the Woodbury County Courthouse for that same purpose. And to reaffirm woodburycountyiowa.gov as the county's primary internet presence for such postings in compliance with House File 2490.
Okay, we have a motion. Motion from Chris on the phone. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the next item is a receipt of direction from the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors regarding industrial data centers.
Okay, for this one, before we begin further, I'm simply going to ask the board to entertain a motion to receive the direction from the Board of Supervisors to schedule a data center debate or discussion to analyze it. So just simply ask you to receive their direction.
Do we have a motion?
I'd make a
Okay.
motion to receive.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay, just for some background, we know that the data center issue is being discussed quite heavily, not only in this county, but also across the state and across the nation. With recent events, the Board of Supervisors want to make it known that Woodbury County would like to have a firmer understanding and potentially permitting or clear permitting apparatus for how we would handle that kind of based on items that we looked at before, specifically like solar, deciding which respective zoning districts or which ones not, and how it could fit or how it could not fit. So they basically gave you a directive to hold some meetings. And what Chairman Nelson and the rest of the board, Chairman Nelson, the reason I bring him up is he kind of articulated the expectation during the meeting that he'd like us to go out into the community at some of the cities to discuss this in maybe kind of a town hall based format. I want the commission to know that your presence out there is to collect information. In other words, we ask the public in a town hall format to express their viewpoints and the information and the data and anything that they want to convey to you as a commission in a town hall format, so that we can glean as much as possible through information collection, data collection, as we attempt to kind of collect a policy. I expressed to the board at the time that, yes, we looked at the general industrial as kind of the primary through the solar debate, and it would be a relevant starting point, as well as much of the infrastructure that we used for solar, as far as that level of permitting could likely play a big role within that policy discussion. So ultimately today, though, I don't want to spend a lot of time on the nuts and bolts of what that issue is, as much as I want to get a sense of how the commission feels about the scheduling. My recommendation about the scheduling is we're going to probably have a lot of business on our regular nights, as far as, our typical subdivisions, conditional uses that we have. And I don't think it's fair for our applicants that have nothing to do with this debate to pull them out to a city farther out in the county. So it's my suggestion that we have our normal meeting nights as usual, with the public hearings and everything that fit here at the courthouse, but we schedule some extra nights in there to meet the board's requirement for getting out and offering the public an opportunity. So in your packets, I provided some information in there about planning for data centers. I kind of left some blank spaces between the July meeting to the August meeting to the September meeting, all the way up through the October meeting. You do have a lot of latitude because the Board of Supervisors actually put this county into moratorium to give the zoning commission an opportunity to look at this very specifically. And so we have a reasonable amount of time, I think, to work on it. They would probably want us done shorter than a year, hopefully 8 months or even less than that. But the ultimate goal is to make us as inclusive as possible, not disrupt harvest like we mentioned before, like we did before with the solar. So if there's a good amount of time we could put in before harvest picks up hot and heavy here in the fall, I would suggest maybe a meeting here. We're getting kind of close in August here, but if there's some time, in August before our August meeting to have a town hall, and then of course in September, it'd be nice to have maybe a couple in September, but I'm going to leave it up to you as far as your availability, generally what your best nights are and concerns are of how it fits with your schedules. I think Monday nights, when on our off nights, with the exception of the Board of Adjustment, might be kind of reasonable to fit in there because we're kind of used to Monday. So I just want to throw that out there, and I hope to leave here tonight with at least a set of dates that everybody might be comfortable with, that'll give us a staff optimal time to notice it and get it out there. I think we got to be real, we're coming up on the August really quickly, so we're going to have to kind of kick it back toward the other end of August, but want to get your thoughts on that. Again, I think it would be a town hall setup for you to collect information, not so much debate the issue as to let the public engage and speak and offer us anything that they wish to offer us about their locations and the specifics. And by the time we get to that, as staff, I want to have more supporting material to help you as well when we go through this information. And in the packet, even for tonight, I provided some hyperlinks and different sources, hoping you kind of peruse to some of those and kind of think about them. They're kind of mixed match of data and information. Hopefully we'll add more to it as we go through. So I'll leave it to you.
So
Any
Dan, I have a
comment?
question.
Yep.
You were thinking on Monday night would be best outside of our regular meeting?
I'm thinking, I'll have to leave it to you as commissioners, but I'm just thinking kind of Mondays, we know this Monday kind of works for you all generally. And I was kind of hoping maybe, yeah, there's holes in your schedules on Monday. If we could come to a consensus across all 5 members on what the ideal night is. So if you all come across, I will tell you Tuesday should be out of play, but simply because the Board of Supervisors meet.
Yep.
And we would want the supervisors to have opportunity to attend to, especially our 2 liaisons. And if more than that attend, then we have to be concerned about noticing that they're going to be there as well through a notice of gathering. So it's a big issue. There's a lot to learn. We know our public has various viewpoints on it. And so we want to information gather and collect. So out of the 5 days of the week, I would say maybe Monday can be in play. Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know. I would probably suggest Friday probably wouldn't work for a lot of people as far as I'm talking more about the public and them being busy with their families and stuff. So I would say Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sometimes Wednesday's not so good. So maybe Monday or Thursdays would be ideal.
Mondays work for me just for my own input.
Chris, do you have a comment on that?
I've got, I mean, probably most flexible on Mondays. Thursdays, I could have a conflict with another board meeting.
Okay, Jeff,
Mondays work best for me as well.
Corey,
I'm okay with Monday.
that Mondays are probably the best of the worst for me too. And then the other issue would be a time frame on that meeting. I
Yeah.
do know, I guess one comment I would make, we've had situations sometimes in the past where the 5 o'clock maybe is too early if it's the distance for somebody to drive.
Yeah.
If they don't get off work till 5 and then make the meeting. So I guess that would be the issue I would ask for the commission to come up with a time frame that they feel is most adequate to address everybody's.
Yeah, I would like the commission to come to a consensus on a recommended time. So if you feel that like after if 7 or if 6
I think you need to be probably at 7 o'clock. That gets us past supper time for most families. And it's still early enough in the evening that we could have a a decent session, and we still have daylight for the most part. If we run an hour and a half or whatever. That's just my recommendation.
I would also say that we want to probably come into it with clarity. We learned a lot from the solar when we started out there. That's why we're doing it this way as far as kind of setting some standards or setting a level of rules. If you want to put the 3-minute, which is kind of depending on the level of the crowd, but the 3 minutes, and if everybody's elapsed talking and having a level to let somebody maybe return after everybody in the room who felt they were going to comment. So if we want to have a level of rules of order for the town hall, I think it's very reasonable, and especially in a group like that. And we're going to do our best to glean as much information as possible off of everybody. And we want to express that. But I'm thinking, when you're into the 7 o'clock hour, probably an hour and a half would be probably reasonable. Maybe you could probably end up going up into 2 hours, but the idea is to pay attention and focus in on each and every person in there that has something that they want to deliver and give them the optimal time. So I would probably think 7 might allow us, especially if we're going out a little bit further. And the other thing that I want to mention too is the Mondays that you want to do, because I think we could look at maybe August 17th, September 14th, September 21st. Those are some dates that we can put in there. And which cities do you think you would want to start off on? I would probably include Salix in there at some point, but also I think we got to be really careful that we're clear with the public about having the issue, make it really clear that this is about unincorporated's position on it, because we will likely absorb some viewpoints on what's going on in Salix, which is fine and that's fair. But we do want to keep the trains on track as far as this is the Woodbury County zoning ordinance. It's how unincorporated sees the policy making and policy decision making. So you may want to look at maybe starting at Sloan or Sergeant Bluff, or we'll get to Salix at some point, but I would put them a little bit further in the rotation, just a little bit. But we may want to look at some of the other eastern side of the county as well. Maybe an Hampton or
Hampton,
that,
Mobile.
but I think if we brainstorm some cities here, I'd like us to get to that point too tonight, is if we could throw out some cities and decide as a commission what our first city would be.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
first
I'm
off,
sorry.
just comments from other commissioners, a 7 o'clock timeframe, does that seem to be a fairly reasonable
Yes.
for everyone?
If everybody individually would say that, that would be
Okay.
great.
Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, Steve?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the time frame of 7 o'clock is what we're going to go with there. The other comment I would make is that we carry forward basically the rules of order that we've kind of carried with the meeting that we handle our other issues on, with a little latitude if there's some serious discussion, either to return to the mic or the time frame. But to keep it limited so that we don't carry a meeting too long.
Yeah, and the irony is of all of this, we want to collect data and we want to hear everybody. So our whole goal is to get down to the individual level. You might remember when we were doing the solar, we tried to do as close as a transcript as we could so that we can look at the merit of what each and every person has to say in the room. So that's going to be the commitment of us to try to get that data, get that information, and get everybody on record who wants to contribute to this. So that, I just want to put that out there, that that's a chief goal.
And then maybe also adding the beginning of the meeting where it's announced that this is clearly an unincorporated area that we're looking at
Yeah.
with
absolutely.
these rules.
And we'll put a packet together that kind of organizes that kind of level to allow the chair to kind of set the stage. But again, this won't be framed as a public hearing. So the concept is that we do all these town halls, we collect the information, we get data rich from what the public says, the qualitative data that the public has to offer. Then we will, when we hold actual public hearing, the formal ones that you need to advance an ordinance forward, we'll host that here as far as the actual nuts and bolts. So it'll be town halls and eventual public hearings. And also, if I may kind of go back to when we have our normal business on normal zoning commission night, we'll put an item on there just as far as an information item or at least a basic agenda item just to kind of see where we're at and allow us maybe even a work session type of thing. I think would be kind of reasonable, label those work sessions so we can kind of discuss more information there. So try to have an all hands on approach to this.
I have a comment on the number of town halls. I anticipate, we could have as many as 3 or 4 official public hearings in this form. Depending on the amount of feedback we receive, as much work that we get done on each of those public hearings. Would there be discussion to reduce the town hall meetings to 3 or 4 versus 6? I think if you add in all the town hall meetings and all the public hearings, I mean, there could be 9 or 12 opportunities for individuals to attend a meeting to provide their information. I think another opportunity would be to collect data not in a public setting. So individuals that may not want to come out and speak at a public town hall meeting or may not want to speak here, can we open up the opportunity for folks to provide you comment electronically, whether it's online, whether it's just a simple email, for folks that don't want to attend these meetings?
Yeah, that's going to be a part of the lead up to the meetings where staff is going to contact and kind of do our general outreach as far as trying to collect comments that'll support you within the packet. I think there's probably even a Facebook play to it as far as getting folks to comment, at least promoting them to, we don't want to have a Facebook wall debate going on. We want to have a place that they can come and email me or get us letters or the normal traditional, but we hope to use Facebook to get the comments to come in. But yes, Jeff, I agree that that's going to be a big part of it, and we'll have that kind of follow linear with we'll leave it wide open to have people continue to comment, and we'll keep you posted with the meetings as a checkpoint on those for sure.
So Dan, I have a question. When you did the solar, how many locations did you have when you did those sessions?
Actually, we did the solar a bit different. We centralized it to Mobile. As you might
Oh, okay.
remember, we did that centralized Mobile meeting. And then we used the courthouse with a mix of some work sessions and a mix of public hearings and different agenda items. So we kind of kept costs down and used Mobile as the central standing point. But you recall that was the only one we went out to directly.
What are you thinking in this particular case then for a number of locations?
I think on the lines of what Jeff kind of said, I think we want to go out to the areas that are probably western Woodbury County. So your Sloan, your Salix, your Sergeant Bluff, and probably get to the middle at some point. But I think we need to gauge it. In other words, if we go down to Sloan, let's say, and we have a kind of a mediocre turnout, and if we go to Sergeant Bluff mediocre, then we go to Salix. But then if we go over to Anthon or something and it's very minimal, I think we can report back to the Board of Supervisors kind of as a checkpoint to say, hey, we've went to this amount of meetings. And you might remember how I kept the data in the solar. We had who talked, who was there, who whatever. So I think we'll actually have real-time data or data that will be able to report back to the supervisors. You know, let's say we had 36 people in Sloan, 60 in Salix. I think reporting that to the board will kind of show them what we're working with as far as a recommendation. The public is a very key part of this, probably the very most important part because it affects lifestyles and everything, but we can't discount the data that we pull in and learn too from some of the, best practices and various ordinances and things of that nature. But I think Woodbury County is designed, and I'll say it right away, transparent up front. If this is to be in Woodbury County, it's probably an industrial play for the most part, like the solar, we kind of went into it quite heavy, but we'll be ears wide open. If we have a big crowd that says that they wanted an agricultural preservation, we're there to listen and see.
I guess the comment I would make would follow up on Jeff's, first off, because it's going to probably be targeted to the industrial area, the western side be more concentrated. The infrastructure to support them over in areas east of here might not be very conducive anyhow. So if we could include maybe Mobile or just a location out there, and if it's a little later in the planning, third meeting or so, we might accomplish most of the input from the eastern part of the county just by one in that area.
And I want to be really clear about this because I would have to defer back to what the Board of Supervisors have done, because if you look really carefully, the Board of Supervisors have been very responsive. They have and this is separate now I want to be clear, this is separate from what we're tasked to do. They put a moratorium on the county. So that means that they gave the zoning commission the ability to, put the brakes on. No new applications. We got to look at this. So now on the Salix side of things, the Board of Supervisors have shown an interest in the concerns about the process. They're looking through that right now. I think they've been very clear and fair to the public as far as, okay, we're looking at the Salix situation. My concern is we do need to go into the Salix area because it's relevant to the property owners in Salix. because there is unincorporated property down there. And yes, these folks will be affected by that are not directly in the city. But at the same time, I think we got to be careful that we maybe not schedule our first one in Salix, just because we don't want to confuse everybody. I think maybe we do the second one or the third one in Salix, but like Tom said too in the beginning, we got to right away say, this is unincorporated. And this debate, as far as is, the annexed land, the city's action and everything, there's a lot to talk about there. Lots of good stuff to talk about. However, the goal is to stay this course on that unincorporated ordinance fully, not to relitigate at that time what's going on in Salix. It's about looking at the policy and how it fits with our comprehensive plan and our goals for unincorporated Woodbury County. We're going to learn a lot, and I think people will come to the table, and I think everybody down in Salix, good amount of folks understand that. They're very well versed in what they understand, so I have full faith in that. But I just think probably our starting city, we're going to want to go someplace out. Maybe we start in Mobile, or we do the one that's out farther first and pull back in. I think that might be reasonable to do an Anthon or a Mobile and do that first one out, and then kind of work our way back in. Because we're going to get a lot of good information the more west we are with affected landowners. So I'll just throw that out there.
I guess I'd kind of agree on that. The thought in my head was maybe start with one of the communities in the west, Sloan or Sergeant Bluff, then go to Mobile, and then come back
Yeah,
to
but-
hit the Salix area.
I like that.
Would, because it gives, the Mobile aspect, maybe we won't get a lot of turnout. We'll find out when we have the meeting. But if we start on the west half and then work further east in the county and then come back to the west side.
But you will learn if you do it in Mobile, the folks that feel strongest about it will come out to Mobile. And that's where it would be very interesting to start out there, because
What's our time frame for notice for the meeting locations?
technically, ideally, if we run it at a public hearing, the code is 4 to 20 days. But the problem with the news media is you got certain checkpoints to meet that. And so I think kind of planning for our first one, logistically, I think probably starting off August 17th might be the most practical to be our maiden voyage one. We just need some time in between. I think you could use the 17th and the 31st, depending on how you want to do it. You got to remember, we're back here again on the 24th.
I guess
So-
I'd make a comment that we shoot to schedule 3, and with the ability to notify, we could add one that would give us the
Yeah.
ability to target that 4th one's location based on what we've seen at maybe the first meeting, or
So you're doing, say, do 3. Yeah, one of the reasons of planning it out is if we could, we're going to be in this one this night, almost like we're going on tour, that type of thing. And so it would be nice to get 3 or 4 in the same notice.
well, yeah, and that's what I was getting at. If we do 3 and then maybe a 4th to be determined,
If needed.
by what input we receive. So maybe Sloan, Mobile, back to Salix at that point. That would give it the
it-
third time frame.
the 17th is actually going to be very tight. maybe.
I would say you could push that one back because the 17th, I mean, there's.
Would you want to lead off on the 31st or?
Yeah, I do think bumping it back might help just to give an opportunity for people.
And my comment is not to limit the amount of public input. It's more concerns if we have too many meetings that conflict with our own schedule that we may have to miss a few. So if that's okay, by the rest of the commission, I doubt that we're all going to be able to attend every single meeting. So as long as there's an understanding that one of us may have to miss a meeting here or there, I don't care how many you have. It's just.
Well, and the goal too is this, where we want to record them. We want to provide you the best information we can as far as having good minutes and good breakdown of what the issues are so that you'll have information to study, along the road. I mean, if Jeff has a scheduling conflict, Jeff should be able to look at the packet and listen to the audio and be able to glean on that. And I think that's expected homework of all of us on that kind of thing. So the commitment and the goal is to have all five of you there. That's why we're talking, but we know we can run into those kind of difficulties at times. I would say that if you get a good 3 or 4 scheduled, and then we reevaluate. And that's how we would use our meetings here. I was kind of thinking if we call it a work session or something here, we can kind of say, oh, last week we were out at Say Lakes and just kind of talk through and have it be a work session / discussion item that we can kind of navigate through in the spirit of how we kind of did that stuff before. Sometimes, when you're sitting there, you're not engaging each other when you're collecting from the public. So there is an essence that you got to break down and have a point where you're talking to each other too through a public work session, which will evolve into full public hearing at the end of the process. So that's.
Dan, I have a question, Dan. Are you looking to try and knock out like potentially 3 of them prior to harvest?
Ideally, it would be nice to do as many as we can before harvest and just.
So you're looking at like trying to get this done before, and Tom jump in, but like before early October, like try and knock them out between now and the end of September. I mean, they typically would get into the beans, what, Tom, what would you say?
Well, I would say you run into issues even in mid to late September. You're into
Yeah.
silage harvest or
Yeah.
depending what the weather's done.
And
Yeah.
I will say this, your commission has the full authority to get this done. And if we have to, put it on pause for the harvest, what we'll do is during the heat of harvest, we'll have our regular meeting as normal. And we'll have it on there for work session or discussion. But if we have to go into January after the holiday, that's fine. You might recall we did that. I remember we had a work session and a meeting pretty close together there in early January as well. We don't want to necessarily rush to a policy just for the sake of having a policy. We do want to do the due diligence in there. So I think it would be very burdensome to say you have to have the recommendation by this date before harvest. We got to see what's feasible because we're going to learn some stuff along the way.
Where do you suggest the August 31st location?
It depends. I like both ideas. I like what Tom said to kind of go this side and then into Mobile and then back.
Do Sloan?
Yeah, I would say probably maybe Sloan, because like Dan made a comment, you don't want to start at Salix.
Yep.
Maybe start in Sloan, and by that time there'd be some talk about things and what's going on, and then move to Mobile. Maybe you'd get some activity there, and then come back and maybe hit the Salix location for your third meeting.
Okay, so let's look at this for a second. So let's throw these dates out. So we got August 31st.
Yep.
And then, okay, we got to stay off September 7th because that's Labor Day. And the Board of Adjustment will probably transition to the 9th on that Wednesday. That puts September 14th and 21st into play. So
The 21st.
I'm open the 21st. The 14th, I'm not sure about at this point, but the 21st, I'm open.
so should we put Mobile at September 21st?
Yeah.
Okay, and okay, then September 28th, we're back, what, here?
Here. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, wow. Too bad we don't have another month in there before October. So,
Hey, Dan, my thought, remembering back to when they talked about solar and stuff, it seemed like we had repeat customers
Yeah.
that said the same thing,
uh-huh,
3 meetings in a row.
yes.
And perhaps if we have these 2 and then wait a little bit, digest things, and then come to the Salix one after harvest, you might get
Okay,
different thoughts, but I just vividly recall the same people saying the same things in front of us.
Cause you could put Salix, if you're saying after harvest, that's likely January.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause what happens is those holidays kind of get in the way too. We learned that we gotta
Because
stay.
if you say we have a year.
Yeah, we do, and it's ideally that we wanna, do our best, and in a way, we wanna, make the board happy as far as, trying to accomplish this in a reasonable time. But yeah, I think Corey has a huge point there as far as we're gonna get to Salix, but maybe on the other side of harvest, and the people that do feel strongly about it will follow the tour.
I would say we could possibly even, late October or early November, maybe hit that third meeting. I think if we have our first two, we have enough notification time frame to do that late October or November after we've had a meeting, correct?
Yeah,
So I think we can kind of play that by ear, and if we do have to extend to January, we do, but if we have a way to maybe make it happen yet, I think we'll learn a lot at the first two meetings.
yeah, we will, a lot.
And then we can,
And you might recall that our Mobile was probably the biggest attended one. Then it kind of tapered down.
and that's the other thing, at those two meetings, opportunity to announce a third meeting
Yeah,
coming up or scheduled, gives more people from those areas to attend the Salix meeting
So-
at the time that's held.
what do you think our three big dates are? If we take it as a pack of three. So we do August 31st, September 21, and October 12th.
I would tend to guess later in October is probably where you're gonna have to hit, because,
Okay, that's
um,
October's kind of,
right now we're in a dry pattern. I think harvest could be early unless we turn wet.
the only other date is the 19th.
19th.
Would 19th be okay?
Yeah.
What about November?
Okay,
November
well,
2nd.
November, that's Board of Adjustment. So
Oh, that's
we
Board
don't-
of Adjustments. Okay.
We
Yeah,
get,
is there-
would October 9th work?
9th,
Or November 9th?
November,
That's
yeah.
silly, because by then, hopefully you're wrapping up. At least a large percentage of what's going on will be wrapped up.
Okay, so if we do Sloan, Mobile, our August 31st Sloan, September 21st Mobile, where would you put the November 9th one?
Probably in Salix.
Salix,
All at 7 p.m.
all at 7 PM. So you want to do Sloan, Mobile, Salix?
I think that's a good target, because that way you're starting in the west, moving to the east, and then coming back to not finish up, but your third meeting, you're gonna have enough people knowing what's going on, probably, that you'll get a better attendance, especially when you're in the area that's in the heat of the moment, I guess you would say right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, so you're doing two western ones there, and I know the supervisors, based on Mark, would like to see us out there at several. So if we did put another eastern one in, I think the eastern one would be our fourth.
Yeah,
After the
and that's
first
the
of the
thing,
year.
depending on what's going on, we
Yeah.
can probably
After the
read
first
into
of the
that.
year.
We'll
what-
announce that after the
If
first
we
of the
need to
year.
add another one, we will.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that sounds fine. How's everybody feel about this? Maybe we should individually go around.
Good.
I'll let you know the day before the meeting.
Thank you.
It's hard, and everybody else is gonna say the same thing. I mean, the September 21st might be real busy for somebody just because of the way things are happening, but
Okay,
I think this is the best we can do with what we have.
and
So we're
there are,
talking, we're just talking October 31st, right? Sloan. The 21st is gonna be
August.
Mobile.
August 31st.
Oh, excuse me, August 30th. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through my phone here, Tom. Sorry.
Okay, no
August
problem.
31st, September 21st over in Mobile, right?
Correct.
And then we were going to November 2nd. Was that correct?
November 9th.
Or 9th, Board of Adjustments. That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So November 9th would be in Salix.
and Salix. And we're gonna have to, there are logistical things. We're gonna have to reach out to the communities and get
Find the space.
the permission to find the space and everything too. So that's pending us working the phones and seeing what we can schedule. So ideally, I appreciate you going with the three, because I think the number three is a nice number for announcing something and we're going to be here, here and here as far as leading up. So I do think that this is a variety that will collect the stakeholders kind of initially in this. And I think we all 5, 6, 7, 8 can evaluate together as far as what we need to do kind of step by step. And this debate does continue because we'll stick it on our agenda on the other meetings as well. We could even put a public hearing here if we wanted to early on. I would probably suggest not, just so that we can keep doing the work session and having valuable information that we can collect and kind of glean through. By the time we do public hearings, we almost want to have text and proposal, really good text and proposal to debate and discuss.
One question, Dan, I have is the issues that are coming forth. The public still would have an opportunity at our normal meeting for a
Absolutely.
non-agenda item to discuss.
Well,
Or
it,
will we-
it keeps you from debating. So, but if
Okay.
we agenda item it every time, and as we call it, work session / discussion, and this short of a public hearing, it's like a town hall, we're free to, as long as
Okay.
it's on the agenda, we're free to discuss that and keep it. The only time, that's where Salix themselves had some issues, is they didn't have that on their agenda. The public shows up, and if people bring it up under board concerns or items on the agenda, you basically have to sit there as we're receiving information, but we can't engage in it. So if somebody were to directly ask you as a commissioner a question that's this way beyond the scope, you don't want to go there just because of public posting and information laws that like through our training.
But as long as it's an agenda item, then we'd be fine.
It'd be an agenda item that's clear to the public that that item's going to be mentioned at the board, but it would have to be labeled as a discussion item. And we've done that several times on different things in the past.
I guess the key is you
We're
gotta
kinda
let the
doing that
public
now.
feel like they have their opportunity to voice their opinion.
Yes, absolutely. And you got to remember, every person that feels really passionate about an issue and they see that word on there, they're gonna, they're gonna come, rightfully so, offer what they have to offer. But we just got to make sure that we give them the proper platform by how we word it on the agendas and everything.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on to number 6, public comment on matters not on the agenda. And I don't think we have anybody here, so nothing on that.
I just had a couple things I'd like to say
Okay, sorry.
about that. I think it's great to have the 3 meetings. I think when you get to Salix, you might want to gear up because some of those people might be aggressive. We've had some things happen in Salix already, some concerns. And so, I think it'd be good to just have that thick skin when you get into Salix. You just don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if you would need security by, some of the things going on there. Some people might be very upset about what is taking place there. So, because we've had some vandalism already taking place in Salix, and I just don't know how far it would go. So I was just concerned about that.
The city council meetings have had a deputy there in when the session's going on, just so you know.
Okay, that's good. Good to
One-
know.
One comment on that too, though, and I think that's where we have to be clear with these town hall meetings and the introduction at the town hall meetings, that the Salix issue is not a Woodbury County issue.
Mm.
That is in an incorporated area. Therefore, these discussions and the input we're looking for is for the county ordinance, not the city ordinance. So hopefully that will help curb some of that aggression,
Sure.
potentially.
And maybe that's another thing too, good comment, Jeff, that to point out the fact that this is an ordinance we're not in support of or promoting the data center. We're just trying to create some rules
Correct.
for them to have to follow. And if it's in the industrial area or whatever we come up with. But you're right, there's probably going to be tempers flared and,
Yeah.
and if we can approach it in our slow meeting and our mobile meeting, so at least going into Salix, some of the people maybe already know that, hey, this is what they're talking about, but it's not what we're going through.
Sure. And then the other thing is, does there, anybody on the zoning commission have a conflict of interest with this, potential data center? Is it, do you have property near these places? Doesn't affect anybody on the board then? Okay.
I would be the closest one.
Okay, all righty. And, does, I'm just wondering, hey, Steve, does that, have a negative impact on you?
It certainly could, yes. I mean, it's maybe 2 miles from my acreage, north. Dan and I have had, a brief discussion about that. So yeah, I've got to be very, neutral on this, let's just say. I'm willing to learn, from these sessions as well. It's important for me as well, not only as a zoning commissioner, but also as a landowner that could be, impacted by this for sure.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious about that. And then the last thing I
No,
wanted to,
good question.
yeah, last thing I wanted to mention is that I'm having, surgery on my cervical spine August 12th. So I probably won't be back until late October. So I'll be missing from these meetings. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, thanks. Okay, I guess now we'll move on to number 7, staff update.
Well, there's definitely lots going on. With, of course, the data centers, I think we accomplished the big thing staff was concerned about is how to set these up and move forward with them, because the Board of Supervisor direction is always quite significant, and it gives us a purpose to keep functioning in our capacities here. And so with that said, I don't have anything glaring as a big update, but if anything changes, I'll send an email or something out to update you on if something is front and center. So just can't think of anything right now, but we'll let you know.
Okay. Moving on to number 8, commissioner comment or inquiry. Anybody, anything to talk about? Okay, hearing none, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
All those opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Guess it's not debatable.